We move on to our first keynote speech. These guys, there's two of them. They are coming from USA, Adam and Jeremiah. Some of you may remember them from our Belfast conference. And Adam is the founder of Musical Intervention in USA, and I believe that you will start, and then we don't know yet what is going to happen. It's interesting. Adam, Jeremiah, please.
Thank you so much, everybody, and especially to the European Conference on Mental Health. Again, great to have everyone. Let's give them a round of applause for bringing us together again. Oh, wow, what a journey. Well, this was a collaboration from an international group that had really started with Frank Riley from Scotland. He came to a presentation that I was doing, saw what we were doing in New Haven, and created this incredible network of individuals that use music and the power to create change and empathy. So thank you, Frank, for now here I am. How about that? There is a song in everyone, and I really believe that. And I hope to convince all of you that you'll believe it too. In 2016, I opened up a space in New Haven, Connecticut, in the USA, that's open to the public, completely free of charge to walk in, grab a guitar off the wall, create community. It's 2,300 square foot in downtown New Haven, where people come in a drug and alcohol-free space, create community together. They listen to records off the wall. We have incredible open mics that just display so much talent that lays dormant in the streets, that lays dormant in psychiatric hospitals. And I'm sure you've seen people along the way. This came to be because, well, it's always been my dream, but I was doing open mics at the Soup Kitchen in New Haven, and I had found incredible talent there just by providing these open mics. The problem is most people don't have anything to do all day. They maybe go to an appointment and then they go to their local green, get high, and maybe hopefully avoid getting into trouble, but sometimes that happens too. This girl here at the top is Destiny, and she made a humongous impact in my life.
I remember when I used to run away from home, like, I had nothing to do during the day, and music is a passion of mine. That's what we all have in common up here. Our decision was already in place that I had to go to a program. I just don't want to miss too much. It helps me remember. It helps me remember that I'm free.
It helps me remember that I'm free. This is a song that we wrote together just as we opened up the doors to musical intervention. And, you know, it gave people a place to be. But this was her song. I'm I'm tired sometimes, but I gotta free my mind. I'm looking forward now, gotta have hope somehow. I don't wanna run no more, I don't wanna run no more. I don't wanna run, I don't wanna run, I don't wanna run no more. Why in the world would I create this place? Why? I was playing an open mic one day and somebody asked me, why do you do all this? Why do you do it? It's because I desperately need community, I need connection, and I desperately need purpose. You could say that I have some lived experience. My mother has paranoid schizophrenia. We were very poor and we lived in state housing, and it was very challenging start to my life. I was eventually put into foster care and, well, then reunited with my grandmother, my Swedish grandmother, the most beautiful woman. She would make me Swedish pancakes, and I'd watch the butter melt into the pancakes, and it was a total change of life. Fortunately, she passed away, and that was very devastating. My father, a Vietnam veteran, he struggled with alcoholism, and there were a lot of people around the house that had addiction, and very interesting characters, to say the very least. And unfortunately, I was put into a special education and maybe a little behavior problem. I had some things going on that I was trying to work out, and there was a lot of stigma put on me, and it was very challenging as an only child to find my way. But there was an interesting twist to all of this. At this, living with my mother, there would be a limo, and it would come by this ghetto and pick us up and bring us to this concert. Oh, sorry. Maybe I shouldn't play the song. When a man loves a woman. We'll stop it early. Maybe everybody wants that song to go on. That's my uncle. That's my mother's brother. So music had a huge impact on me as a child. Seeing your uncle up there with everything going on. And, there was a VIP status. We had lanyards, and we were backstage, and I was a somebody. I was a somebody who could eat, somebody that was included, somebody that was special, right? And at the end of that night, of course, the limo would take us and drop us right back to the scenario that I had. So living with my grandma after she passed, my father did the greatest thing he ever did for me, which was he bought me a drum set. And this drum set was blue sparkling pearls, and it was in the basement, and I played there as loud and as long as I wanted to, until the cops would come and stop me, of course. And they did, often. And I really found my identity there in music. I found my safe space. I knew that when I was playing music, I was okay. I was in a good place. And so I attracted some other musicians, and we had a good time just jamming. Again, unfortunately, drugs slipped in and started taking out my friends, started taking me along with it. And I knew that I needed to make a change. I had to stop doing drugs. I had to get serious, and that's what I did. I was dating a girl, and she told me to go to college. Didn't want to go to college. I was done with the label of special ed, but I did. And again, the greatest decision. I got my degree in recreation therapy. I started working at a child psychiatric inpatient hospital. I was there for 5.5 years. writing and recording music with the kids, running other groups, but music was the thing. It was there that I met Jeremiah Brown, my fellow keynoter today. One day we wrote this song, and these are some of the lyrics. Give it time to find yourself, be nice to each other and respect your health. Love each other in the lonely times, because the world needs you. Woo! And that song has now traveled the world. And get your vocal cords warmed up because we will be singing it later. So working at this psychiatric hospital was incredible, and the medical director suggested that I branch out and work with other agencies and work with other populations, and that's what I did. I started finding that there was a song in everybody. And so I developed this mission to promote empathy, transform lives, and inspire the world one song at a time. Working with veterans, working with people with disabilities, intellectual, differently abled, and finding that there's just so many rock stars hidden away in our psychiatric settings. I needed a place to bring people. And so we started doing these open mics at the musical intervention. I started branching out, doing pop-up studios. This one here in New York City, Greenwich Village. This one here at the Bonnaroo Music Festival. It's a pretty large festival. We had a tent set up, and some of the music, people would just want to come and jam for hours. A little strange. And then all of a sudden, we come to Belfast. The relationship with Frank has grown so much, meeting both Marcuses in Finland. And getting invited to Belfast just before COVID was just a dream come true, and the fact that I got to bring my crew, Jeremiah. And this is one of the songs that we wrote. Again, when you join the music group, we'll be able to create something. So good. It's so beautiful. Those videos are on YouTube if you're interested in watching. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. It's so moving. Speaking of research, it was mentioned, obviously very important. Plenty of research has been done on music, finding that a reduction in depression, boosting immunity, relieving pain from the body. And we even did our own research with Yale. Program for Recovery and Community Health. They've been a great partner. Actually, the presentation I was giving there, that's where I met Frank. And people, the research that we found, participants at musical intervention like the non-clinical setting, like to just be able to walk freely in, not as somebody who has depression or somebody who is prescribed to come there. They like to just come as a guitar player or as a listener. Our retention rates are great. People want to be and spend their time there, and they do all week long, pre-COVID. Now we're getting back there again. One really great part that I love is this identity. They really do. They find their own new identity. Again, not clinically depressed, not schizophrenic. I play guitar and I rock the house every Thursday night. What a great opportunity. Through the relationship with Perch, we got a research grant from the National Institute of Health. We were funded generously through them to study how the impacts of the songwriting group impact people with auditory hallucinations. I'm going to invite Deanna to speak about some of the findings that we were able to get.
Hi everyone, my name's Deanna Greco, and I'm a neuroscience graduate student working with Dr. Phil Corlett and Adam on the Sing Music study at Yale University. As Adam has probably mentioned by now, our Sing Music study is exploring the impact of making music in a small group on individuals experiencing distressing auditory hallucinations. So far, it seems like the participants are really enjoying being in the study. They really like making music in a small group. And indeed, our preliminary data suggests that this musical intervention is having a positive impact on them. For example, a linguistic analysis of pre and post musical intervention interview data shows that participants are using the pronoun I less frequently after the musical intervention. And you might ask, why is this finding compelling? And the reason is that previous research has shown that the frequency of the use of the pronoun I is positively correlated with level of distress. In other words, the more frequently somebody uses the word I, the higher level of distress they're experiencing. So coming back to our data, what we're seeing is that after only 4 music sessions, the participants are using the word I less frequently and thus are less distressed after this musical intervention. And it's wonderful findings such as these that make us especially excited to move into the second phase of our study, where we're asking the question of what is it about this Sing experience that is helpful to the participants? So, for example, is it that they have ownership over the content, or is it that they're performing the content, or is it some kind of combination of the two? So to examine this, we have 4 different types of music groups in this phase of the study. Firstly, we have the Sing music groups, like before, where participants make music in a small group with Adam. In that case, they have both ownership over the content, they're creating the content, and they also have that performative element because they have to get up and sing and record the music. The second type of group we have is singing karaoke. So in this case, the participants don't have that ownership component, but they do have the performative element. The third type of group is listening to playlists curated by the participants themselves, in which case the participants have ownership over the content, but they're not getting up and performing it. Instead, they're just sitting and listening together. And lastly, we have playlists that are curated by the group facilitator. And in that case, the participants don't have ownership over the content, and they also aren't getting up and performing it. So stay tuned to see what our future results are. And Adam, keep working your musical magic.
Now the scientific part is over. Thank you. Yeah, just before leaving, we got the great news that we will be extended. All of our findings are good enough to move us on to the next phase. So we'll see what we find. This is full circle, obviously. This is me and my mother. Some of the best best experiences I have are making music with my mother because her schizophrenia creates problems in her conversations. But making music together, those are the special times that we have that she can improv and start singing however she likes, and those are just great. And so to see that there is some now research that should show maybe why this is happening, and it seems to be, to me, and it wasn't mentioned in this study, the word I was decreased, but the word we shot through the roof. And I think it's about being together. This is a photo of some folks that I have met along the way on this journey. This is New York City. This was an original beat poet. He would come into this drop-in. I mean, we literally just opened it up, and people started coming in right away. And he would do his beat poetry over somebody from Broadway playing piano, and just amazing stuff. This is an event. We often do events on the New Haven Green and display our talent for people to see. Some festivals that we've been invited to, and I get to bring my crew. This is our open mic. Geez, I wish I could tell you about each individual and the faces behind them, and we do. We have plenty of music that has covered this. Totally diverse. Just coming in as you are. All ages, backgrounds. I've even got this one video all the way on the left where we got 100 people on a garage, and each person sang one line of Lean On Me. And it's a really powerful thing if you want to check it out on YouTube. Just some of the great stuff. The fellow in the middle singing, that's my Uncle Orrin. That's Michael's older brother, who's been an advisor to me for many years. He's currently doing this work with so many amazing individuals. You have to prepare yourself for loss, and this is a memoriam for some of those that we've lost.
Time is running out, so get up off your thing. Let's go. We got just us. I think I'm playing. I got playing. Just your fool, I must confess. Still love you, darling, and pick your best. I ain't jiving, no use in lying. I'm just your fool. I'm just your fool. I can't help myself. Still love you, baby, and no one else. I ain't jiving.
In memoriam. The fellow in the middle is Michael Goodwin. He is the one who put a guitar in my hand and taught me how to write a song, which has served me well. You are a song, a wished-for song. Go through the ear to the center, where the sky is, where wind, where silent knowing. Put seeds and cover them. Blades will sprout where you do your work. One of the greatest fruits I have of all of my labor is coming up now. Jeremiah Brown.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's amazing to be here. I'm Jeremiah Brown. I'm a singer-songwriter from the U.S. What I do on a daily basis, I'm a medic, and I'm a private military contractor for the U.S. government, which we'll see further on and going on here. People always ask me what I do and why. And the reason is because I've been there. Growing up, my mother was a successful nurse and a wonderful singer. As you can see here. My mother also had her own flaws. My mother suffered from substance addiction, and that caused me, as I was born, to have respiratory issues. Her addiction was something that she hid from us, which was never known through the family, at least me being one of 12 and being the youngest. My life from birth literally was changed. I was born at 1 pound. I've grown a little since then. But her mistakes made me grow up without a mother and suffer from a disease that I had no control over or asked for. When I was 10, I had all these feelings and overwhelmed thoughts in my head and just got overwhelmed and didn't know what to do with them. At that time, 10-year-old me attempted suicide. I thought maybe I would just disappear and these feelings would disappear. But while I was in this at Yale New Haven Psychiatric Pediatric Ward, this crazy guy was walking down the hallway with his ukulele and this frisky hair and was like just jolly. And it was a different vibe from everyone else that was there. That person was Adam, by the way. Yeah. I was hospitalized for a number of things numerous times. But while I was there at the psychiatric hospital, I finally caught Adam's attention while he was walking down the hallway with his ukulele. And we started to have little groups where he would teach me guitar chords and how to format a song. And it was different. And I felt like these feelings that I was having, I'm now able to express on paper in a different way. I wrote my first song called Help the World with Adam, which was about the violence that I encountered in my community growing up. I grew up in one of the worst counties in New Haven, Connecticut, where, that also took away from my childhood growing up. My first song about Help the World was really a structure of where I came from. And being in this place of mental health and being around all other kids who are having similar things to me, I said, well, this is helping me. I wonder if it'll help someone else. I was able to write a song. Adam went on vacation. He left us his guitar, which he trusted all these kids with his favorite guitar, which was crazy. And I had these 4 chords, the only 4 chords that I knew on guitar, and 2 friends that I made there who I'm still friends with now. We wrote a song called Keep the Faith, which was amazing. As I extended my... Now I don't remember the chords. As I extended my music knowledge, I discovered that this music stuff was pretty cool and powerful. I had control over who I am again. I had control of what I wanted to say without a doctor telling me I can't feel that way, without my family judging me about how I felt about this way. If I did it in song, I felt safe saying it. So, during these many hospitalizations, my mother overdosed trying to escape for a moment. Well, that moment became a lifetime. And it's something that I'm still processing and healing with. Overdose is what tried to take away the moments of who she was. Now, like I said, my mother was a successful nurse. No one would ever know this. But, again, that moment became a lifetime. Musical intervention is what helped me heal and still heal to this day. Whether it was me spending months in the hospital because of my health, or just because I'm having a tough day at work. As I said, I work as a paramedic, so I see people daily overdose. Sometimes it just reminds me of that time when I was 10. But if I have someone who's having a mental emergency, we can sit in the back of the ambulance and listen to Bon Jovi on the way to the hospital and just kind of jam out, right? So those are tips and skills that I've learned from being around musical intervention itself. People say they see your smiling face, but they never know the challenges that went through your blood. And I believe everyone has a story and everyone has challenges, but you have this shield. And that shield is okay to break sometimes because you don't want to be ashamed of who you are. Here you see me at musical intervention. Again, like I said, I recently was deployed. Some of you might know. Afghanistan had an evacuation. We brought 20,000 refugees to America, and we housed them all. Now, it was a rough and tough situation there in Kabul, and the soldiers that I was working with in the U.S. military were overwhelmed, stressed, and having a lot of mental emergencies. Up next, you will see the military colonel. Her name is Noelle. She's the military director. Now, her position doesn't allow her to be what they call soft-spoken. She has to be a tough cookie all the time. Musical intervention in me broke that cookie, and she crumbled it all over the floor. We did a worship service here, as you can see. Awesome. So that's where I am now. My futures, everyone has dreams. I'm currently a firefighter and a dad. I have an amazing 2-year-old son who is very creative, verbal, and bad sometimes. We get to spend days at the firehouse and make music, all in one. Most of the times on Thursday nights, sometimes for open mics. My son is 2, so it's all about learning. We'll go down to musical intervention where the doors are always open, and my son literally will pick an instrument and play it and learn about it. We did drum sessions. He learned about the different skins on an African drum, which surprisingly he was very intrigued in. And then we did different tones. So not only is musical intervention a safe haven, but it's also a teaching place and a school and a home to many. Thursday nights, I specifically make my schedule so I can be there at open mics, because that is the one time that I can be who I am without a badge on, without a bulletproof vest on, without a uniform on, and I can wear Crocs and not boots, which is always the best thing that I can do. So again, my goal, I'm currently pre-med to be an anesthesiologist. I want to help others that deal with the same respiratory issues as me live comfortably and not have to struggle. Now, that picture of me in the OR, I'm actually listening to Hannah Montana, if you know who that is. She's a Miley Cyrus, rather, her name is, as I do simulations. And these are just small things that I say, music is a focused skill for me, and music is literally my life. My first performance ever was live in Times Square, New York, with Adam singing the song, Keep the Peace. Total, I wasn't expecting it at all, for all those people to be there. I was also able to travel to China in high school. Musical intervention helped lead me up to that, where I was able to study for a month in Shanghai Theater Academy and gain skills that I'm still able to use this day. So I want to say thank you. We have a little surprise for you.
Very natural. Jeez Louise. Well, can you imagine now, maybe your neighborhood, people in your neighborhood that might benefit from a community space that's welcoming and engaging, safe, and most importantly, accountable, because we want to make sure the people that come through our doors are getting the help that they need. See, instead of case management, it's artist management. It's the desire to make sure that these people can show up on a regular basis, perform, and you need to be healthy to do that. And if housing is an issue, then we network them to case managers that can get them the services that they need. If it's addiction or substance use and they need to detox, then we connect them to the necessary services that can get them the help that they need again. Also that they can come back and create in a healthy state of mind, leave and build a legacy for themselves and their families. I'm astonished when I talk to Frank about the work that they are doing in Scotland, and so motivated to bring everything I learned from this week back to the U.S. to show that there are so many unique ways in treating people as people and getting them on the road to recovery. And I'm just really so grateful to be here. So thank you, everyone. Now, what better way to end this beautiful story than in song?
Every boy and girl, give it time to get around the world. Don't stop believing in this view, 'cause the world needs you, yeah, the world needs you. Give it time to find yourself, be nice to each other and respect your help. Love each other in the lonely times, 'cause the world needs you, yeah. Keep the peace, keep the peace, keep the peace. The world needs you. Keep the peace, keep the peace, keep the peace. The world needs you. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Can't hear you. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Don't stop believing. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Don't stop believing. Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Keep the peace, every boy. Don't stop believing. Don't stop believing. Don't stop believing.
All right, here we go. Here are the words. Ready?
Keep the peace, every boy and girl. Give it time to get around the world. Don't stop believing in this view. Because the world needs beautiful voices. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you. And we're done early.
It's not easy to be a host in this kind of event when the motions are going like a Portuguese weather, maybe. Okay. Thank you very much, Jeremiah and Adam. This was not the traditional keynote speech, but would somebody like to make a comment or question or say something? We have still time. Do we have some questions or comments? Okay, just please wait for the mic.
Sorry. Thank you very much for the performance. And only one question: how do you deal with people who would like to sing but they believe that they're not able to in your sessions and where you meet people and do music?
Are you talking about sign language, or are you talking about like bad voice?
Well, I think about Finnish people who have traumatic experiences from school when they were punished as they tried to sing and they were forced to sing and so on. All the Finns know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. So traditional education can be daunting, especially if the instructor is very strict and expects perfection. When you walk through our doors, the last thing we want is perfection. Actually, perfection doesn't often make it through the door. We typically love the whatever it sounds like method, and there's a few facilitators that are there to support the person so that whatever they're singing, ideally, the musicians can get behind and make it sound good, especially in production. When we do audio recordings and people come in to perform, there's oftentimes a pitch problem, which often is not enough experience, right? Not enough experience creating music, especially with others. But when those situations happen, our engineers work like crazy to use auto-tune and make it sound really good, something that they could be super proud of. And yeah, it's really great to see that. Even though they might not be there yet, we still put their best foot forward, and that becomes something they can be proud of, if that answers. So if you have a bad voice, I don't care. How about that? Bring it. Like, I just want to hear it.
Okay, this one. Can we get the microphone there? Just wait for a minute.
Are you going to sing?
Not unless everybody joins in, no. I was particularly interested in Jeremiah in faith, because he showed a aspect of worship, and I just wondered how faith influences all that you're both doing. Thank you.
Yeah, faith is great. I remember an experience that I had where I really wanted God in my life, and I said, God, show me the way, and God did. It was great. It was a very specific visual and kind of a calling for me. Jeremiah will talk about his spiritual experience. But,
Yeah. So faith for me is very important. My life is based off of faith. For me, faith is worshiping, and I worship to whoever I decide to worship at the time. Sometimes it's myself. But I do that through music, and I show my faith, dedication through that, and obviously, teaching that also to my kids. Adam introduced me to finding my faith and exploring my songs. So that's kind of where I get it from. So.
Yeah. Faith is cool, and there's so many religions in the world that describe so many things. I think if my ideal belief would be that we are loved and that we are forgiven to love, and so that we could be free to love anybody that we love.
Yeah, give me a keyboard, you'll see my faith.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We had an incredible night last night at a local open mic in Lisbon, which is a beautiful, beautiful city. Thank you so much for inviting us all here. And the community that was there was very, very close to musical intervention, very loving group of people creating music in a very small space. And so this is it's beautiful.
I had a question about how you work with.
Please wait for the mic so we can all hear. Sorry.
She could have gave me a heads up.
Thanks. I had a question about how you work with your participants to train or work with others. So it's obvious you have a beautiful spark that just spreads, but I guess it's a question of how you work with your participants and developing that spark so they light that in others, and how does that spread internationally or beyond music intervention in New Haven?
Sure. The spark exists in these people. They're creative bodies. They're inspiring individuals with often no outlet. By simply providing the space, does quite a bit at giving them the power in themselves to be able to lead others and encourage others to be the next generation of inspiration. There's been times where we've had 30 volunteers, and we're talking about little infrastructure. I mean, no infrastructure at first, right? But people with lived experience tend to have a pretty strong ability to empathize with others that are also struggling. There's some kind of relationship that happens, and in those relationships, utilizing something to focus on, like music, art is plenty, drama, there's all kinds of other ways to do it. I do believe that by simply providing the space and creating and trying to facilitate safety, people just naturally want to put their best foot forward, be inspirational, and those things. Now, key elements to make the thing work is somebody with the ability to create these things, somebody with music. For us, it's music ability. We were able to bring on 2 music facilitators. They're there throughout the week to make sure that people are creating throughout the week. And they both have lived experience, but they're able to, they've done some of the work to show up on a regular basis and, and inspire, keep the inspiration going. If that does any justice to your question. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you for the comments and questions. And once again, Jeremiah, Adam, thank you very much.